So you know how there's like this study about how these wasps can change the DNA of like these certain plants, and it makes it so that their larvae can just like chill and like develop in there until they're ready. It gives them food and everything. And the plant itself is not like that until the wasp like injects it with something, and or infects it even with something, and somehow it changes the DNA and certain genes of the plant to then not be how it normally was, but to then benefit the wasp and its larvae, so it can produce. There's also this zombie virus that infects the brains of certain insects and bugs, and like sometimes you can find them if you go into woods, and they'll just be like sticking on something and have mold and stuff growing out of them. It's kind of weird. Either way, you know, like, even though like essentially this bug is like half eaten by this fungus or whatever, it manages to live in a zombie-like state. So if for some reason you were exposed to this toxy bacteria that the cats have, and or their spray, and or even a mixture of both, who knows? I'm just kidding. No. Over a certain amount of period of time, or a certain amount, could this bacteria incubate Now here's how it would be. It would be transmitted through the spray, I would assume. Because if it's on its butt, wouldn't it also? No. But either way, so if this bacteria were suddenly all up inside of your body and inside of your brain, wouldn't it want to act kind of like the zombie virus that infects the brain of the insects, and then also like how the insects, then those wasps then use, you know, like the leaves or these plants for their advantage, and, you know, change their DNA by injecting them and then, you know, changing them so it's a optimal environment for them, or it's a good thing, right? But, you know, clearly in cats this would affect mice, this chemical, but it seems to also have some type of effect on humans. And, you know, it just makes you really wonder, like, are the cats really like these alien-like creatures? They're just so cute and adorable that are changing people's DNA with their little bacteria if they have them, or you get exposed to it for a certain amount of time or amount. I don't know. It wouldn't necessarily make it an optimal environment or help them, or I guess, you know, you gotta be full of love all the time. They're so cute. Most individuals find cats really cute, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, just, it really makes you wonder. It seems to be a pattern there, and things seem to repeat in life, and there has to be something that could do that to a human. It just would be just the only logical conclusion, it seems. I'm not so sure. Hello, so I just woke up, so that's why I look suddenly different.
but I was gonna redo part of my video. So this anatomy teacher that I had as a senior in high school, he said something, like, this was way before the virus. He said, like, that pigs are the closest thing to, like, humans, you know, with their, like, flesh and just how they're structured internally and stuff. They're very close to humans. Very, very, very close. And that in, like, at the time, scientists and all this stuff were, you know, like, studying the HIV virus and also using it to get rid of, you know, bad diseases like cancer or other such things, and using the HIV virus because it could, you know, essentially attack everything in the body when it's HIV, but if you take certain parts of it out and just have the actual virus without the part that actually gives you, you know, like AIDS and HIV, it can actually, you know, like, activate certain genes and killer T cells because of, you know, the immune response that the AIDS virus would, you know, naturally, you know, initiate when you have the virus. But in this case, you know, they're using it to not initiate you getting HIV, but to initiate you getting these killer T cells to kill other things like cancer, because AIDS would be strong enough to eat it up alive, in other words, because of these natural killer cells. And I just thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really weird. And it's kind of like that itself. It makes me wonder that since HIV or AIDS, you know, as you go down in the steps, you know, like, you get worse and worse and sicker, that it eventually turns into the Toxoplasmosis bacteria that can cross your blood-brain barrier and go up inside your brain, and, you know, it gets, like, really bad at this point. But that's interesting because that's also what the cat stuff is from the cat litter boxes, the cat germs. So the question is, what is the correlation there? And could this cat toxoplasmosis be used and also be modified in a lab to genetically kill certain diseases and make you better if you use it like the AIDS virus or the HIV virus was used and modified in a lab to potentially, you know, activate these killer T cells? I have a feeling that since it ends up in the same type of infection that cats or this Toxoplasmosis bacteria can do the same thing. I just don't have a lab to to prove this. Just a theory, but just know where it came from. And just to clarify, with the little cat stuff potentially being able to cross your blood-brain barrier, and if for some reason it doesn't make you sick because you only get exposed like a little bit over the years, and you start building like a natural immunity against this toxic stuff, that you essentially start building this relationship with it, like the parasites and stuff do with the leaves, where it benefits them, you know, except in a human's case, where we're not a mouse, I'm not a mouse, I'm a human instead, so it affects me slightly differently. that it, in some people, it can make them sick, you know. If they're pregnant, they might lose their baby, etc., etc. But what if you're not pregnant? And what if you grow up with it your whole entire life since you're a kid and you've always just been around it? Then could your body build some type of immunity against this toxobacteria and essentially carry it within it as like a host that then slightly alters the way you think as a human and the way you behave potentially, but then you also get some sort of immunity through it in a sense, to a small extent, just a natural one without, you know, altering it in a lab or doing whatever they're doing, but just naturally over a long period of time. That's maybe how it would develop, but not in everyone. I guess it could depend on many different factors, everything from blood type to if you're male to female to other potential diseases that might interact with it. You know, there's many different things, but just a little theory. And could that also be why cats can smell cancer? And I guess the same would be for dogs, which I don't know if they have this bacteria or not. I'm not honestly sure. But maybe that's why animals can smell these certain diseases that humans have, because they almost have like this antibacteria inside them that they use or something that could activate certain other things inside of the humans.